forgot. Okay. Okay. So, Manuel, you have another question?
Oh no, that was it for now. I'm gonna try working
Okay.
on that.
All right.
Thank you.
So I saw both Anna and Chonghan, you're asking about minus 17, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, both of you actually. Okay, this is a little twist I have. Um, if you see here, there's a lot of number 17, right? And you see here's a
I
time.
don't think you're sharing your screen.
You know, that's the second thing I keep forgetting. I'm assuming everybody see the way I'm seeing the world. Okay, okay. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me. You know I need those kind of reminder always. Okay, so this is my screen, right? And you can see this is a server log. You can see that you're receiving this kind of arrow, but but you see somebody just got that, right? But there is a another line here said time diff. Have you seen that time diff? Time diff means that there is a time difference before anybody requests this particular post ID and the time right now. So essentially what the server behaves right now is that you cannot request update or validate for the same post within a very short period of time. So you have to wait for a while. Basically, I ask you to cool down. Okay, so if you submit one, you wait within a minute or two, and then you submit another one, you're going to get the fail minus 17. Okay, because you're doing this too fast. I mean, I wouldn't tell you how many seconds that I actually set to be the threshold for you to actually reissue another call for the same object ID. Basically, what I check is your profile ID plus the post ID. And if you request this, I use a key map to keep tracking your time about how you're acting, not individual person, but tracking about the post. So if say one of the students submit the update for this post and within 5 seconds, another student submit a post, maybe they're the same, maybe they're the different, but I see those two coming, they're back to back too close, the second one will be denied. Okay, that's why if you, you can try other posts, that's okay, but you cannot try the same post multiple times in a short time window. That's what they're doing, what I'm doing. And I want to share the story with you is the reason I actually modified the server. That's why it took me a lot of time last night. By the way, I didn't went to sleep until about around 4 a.m. this morning and having a lot of fun doing this. Is that there are apparently students, as I mentioned, writing a script or writing a code and keep issuing the command to do update or to do validate. Okay, I have seen this happen. And the thing is that and for some reason when this come in too often, the system is actually cannot keep up with it. So I have to slow it down by checking the time and make sure that people cannot do this too often. So that's kind of I would say a temporary fix to some of the issue because we only have a one port number. If I have a multiple port number, if I have like an infrastructure, you can think about this kind of issue that a company like Google and Facebook need to deal with when they have a billions of customers they want to access the service. And we're talking about a probably less than 200 students and try to access. It's a much smaller scale, but this kind of issue is coming up. It's very interesting. I like this experience very much. Okay. And so for Anna and for Chonghan, just to let you know, that's what minus 17. So let me tell you something even more interesting. The reason is a smack stack detection is that I don't believe that the frequent message coming in to my server is a problem of my code. It's a problem of the RPC implementation, which I don't have access to. And the thing is that if I don't set this time limit to allow people to just keep sending, the RPC implementation is going to generate smack stack detection. So smack stack detection is a technique for cybersecurity to check whether the memory has been out of range or using some memory, which especially using a techniques, maybe you will learn that from ECS 153, is called buffer overflow. So some of you might heard about that. So essentially the library detect a buffer overflow. So basically a huge amount of time I did is I check for every single buffer I allocate, which I don't believe is my buffer is being buffer overflow. I think it's the RPC implementation is being buffer overflow. Okay, it's just to let you know that's another exciting real world problem that we need to deal with. Okay, you see that the servers just keep running and keep. And I'm actually also log because I log a lot of things. So I'm actually also try to keep, for example, this post is okay. This post just came in and without any trouble. That's fine. Yeah. So far I have about 20 different posts in my server. And just show you another thing is that at the beginning I only have a couple error code, but right now the error code is a lot. Just to let you know that we have the list of error code is over here. That you will now receive the string about each of this 19 error code. So you will receive one of those. If each of this means that there is some perspective, either the input or the system fail or something like that. Yeah, that's the list of error code. And you can see the smack stack detector is somewhere here. And yeah, okay, I will leave it as that.
So I have a question then, because for my specific case, I tried like updating a post and then I got one of these errors. And then I sort of like knew that, oh, this is a quick fix. So I just fixed it really quick and then I got a smack stack. So does that mean that like no matter whether the post is like validated or not, like that smack stack will happen, or is that only just for like valid posts?
No, for both update and valid, it will actually ask you to cool down. I mean, okay. You can just, I mean, my recommendation is that you will leave that post there and then try to reconnect after a period of time and until it gets through. Okay, that's in real system, these things happen. So that's one way to fix it. And the other way to fix it is that you create multiple posts. So basically you create, that's why you want to create multiple posts, and some of the posts with a different, I mean, still your profile ID, but our post ID is going to be different. I mean, for example, let me actually show you. You can see that what students are doing, very creative. You can see that this is the students are creating multiple posts, okay? And they're just, and then those, by the way, I want to show you the other thing, which is important. This is all the keyword for you to do search. This is all the keyword. I have at least one post that's actually being used. And I take the credit to one of the students is using, giving me a lot of feedback about how do I modify. Now everything is case insensitive. So the keyword, lowercase, uppercase, all converted to lowercase, okay? You can see that those are the keyword for you. So you create multiple posts to work on those. For that particular post where you see 17, don't do that and switch to something else for a while. Or at least you need to change the ID in order for it to be acceptable. Yeah, because I'm actually checking the ID about when was the last time you have submit this one. Any other further follow-up on that? I'm sorry that this is not necessarily the ideal situation, but that is a quick way to fix this until the end of the quarter, and maybe over the summertime we'll figure out a better solution. I mean, I was trying to get the RPC to give me the IP address of the source IP address, so I can at least try to do something better. But that's something that's a quick fix. I hope I have a better solution. If you have a better solution, let me know, and that will be 1% credit as well. I'm just let you know that if you offer a constructed suggestion like that, that will be very, very good for your learning experience as well. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. Slightly unrelated too. I was sort of wondering the purpose of like having the validate function and like submitting 10 JSON posts in like our hand-in in our hand-in file, because wouldn't you be able to sort of like check if a person has like interacted with 10 posts and like if their 2 posts are like have enough? I just kind of want to like understand the logic there, because I'm a little bit unclear for like the purpose of that.
Yeah, well, you're right that I could just look at all the posts I have and determine that who has that, right? I mean, just I have that. But the important thing for doing this is that what happened if somebody compromised my server, all the file, all the log file, everything is gone for some reason or unavailable when I want to provide a grading. But you still have a copy, right? You can actually use that as a proof to say, hey, this one is actually good information. It has a checksum to actually say that this one is being validated by the server. So that is a evidence and forensics for you to show that you actually complete the homework. I think that's my purpose.
Yeah, it's just sort of, I'm like kind of concerned with like the whole timing of this thing, because like you know, by like over the weekend, you know, like if I do like a history and like I have my thing on there, I'm sort of anticipating it's going to be hard for me to like check all of the 10 posts that I've like put my name on to see like if there's 20, and just kind of like continuously monitoring that. um I'm not sure if like that's the way I'm supposed to go about it, but do you like have any suggestions?
Um, that's a good point. That's a good point, because if I were you, I'll be actually spending a lot of time to just look for all the posts. So I will hope to have a period of time to to just make sure you put your historical record on a lot of posts to do the search, and then you remember those keywords. And then after a while, you try to just grab it back using those keywords to do the search to see if those numbers grow significantly. You don't have to do that all the time. You can do this manually every 2 hours. You check, but you write a program to check, or you write a program to basically just save those posts and then just submit to validate. Okay, and but on the other hand, if our server is doing all the work, which means that our server will automatically check every post and just announce which student already have 10 posts qualify. I think that significantly reduce the participation from the student side, because the student just keep doing that, and then until that message really show that, okay, you already qualify at this moment. And before that message was up, I mean, the students still need to worry about for each of the posts how many I have. So one thing I can do, by the way, Anna, is that when you submit the validate, I can actually tell you how many historical record that this post has on my system. So what you have is a post. You have a post ID, but when you first add your historical record, it might only have a 2, but they have been built up, and then the server actually realizes 25 or 14 or things like that. So at least you know whether this particular record is actually grow up quite a bit, or which post is actually very low. You either have to encourage other people to participate, or you actually have to give up and move on to somewhere else. I think that interface might actually help you to get to that. So in other words, when you do validate, I will give you more information. So basically, your validation is just having the validate about the post you have. But I will also give you that the copy I have that is probably built up more. And that probably, would that be better? So you actually have a more information.
Yeah, that would definitely be really helpful. But I'm also sort of like concerned about how, because I feel like I finished like my code personally, but now the rest of like my assignment is like checking whether like my post has enough comments, or like if things that I've added history to like have enough. So like that would certainly help, but it seems, or at least the part 2 for me seems a little bit more of like a like class interaction thing, if that's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a collaborative. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. Yeah. And so what we try to do is not just mechanically get the code running, but also seeing how your code and the time you spend is actually helping supporting each other. I mean, to be honest with you, that is I was considering this is part of this is because we're all online. We're all kind of distance with each other for the 3 months. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe this is the time for me to try to push students to be spending more time online in a way that really interact with other students. So that's really my initial thinking and thoughts. And when other things happen, such as what happened in Minneapolis, and I'm thinking, yeah, we need to have a more positive encouragement in the spirit among all of us. So that's why I thought maybe it's not a bad idea. But I agree with you. This is not strictly related to the curriculum about the programming by yourself, but I think is, but on the other hand, the good thing, I do want to share with you that I interact with several students for the past 2 days, because people are sending me, hey, is this a bug? Can I get my 1%? And I realized there was when you really try to test the system, you're providing not just your program, but how do you actually make your program somewhat different to crash the system and to do this or that. In that process, that I feel that you might also learn something very unique here. That's I have observing. So I'm expecting this weekend it will be a lot of activity. I will need to be online and watching whether things crashing or not, and then you might actually receive more error message, and then you might I might tell you exactly what's going on from the server side and from the client side. That's what I'm hoping. But yeah, it's a little bit different from the traditional programming assignment. But I will modify that. I will I will modify my my search function in such that it will check the latest one, and then how many historical record that I have there, and send back to you. Okay. I think your suggestion is great. I like that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay. Any other? Let me check the check the chat.
Professor, can I ask a question on homework 6?
Sure. Yes. Go ahead.
I'm having a problem on the first test case on step 4 when I call homework search, and then I put search clause JSON. Instead of returning the array of the post, it returns status failed, similar to step number 2.
Okay. So have you so which that means your server side couldn't find the post, right? That's actually that match any of the keywords. So I would suggest you want to see you want to see that how many posts you have in the post map, and see if the keyword that you submit really match. I assume you're doing the standard keyword ECF36B, which it should, ECF36B should match the keyword you submit. So you want to check when you go through the the all key function or the search function to see if, number one, see if that okay, by the way, if you follow my reference implementation, you need to have a OKey object that's actually created for the keyword ECF36B. So first you need to check whether that object is there or not, right? If the object is there, it means that you do have a key. Then you go to the OKey object, because OKey object has a list of the post pointer to the post. You want to see if that list is empty. If the pointer is empty where the key is there, that means you haven't insert the post to the OKey object correctly, which that insertion should happen in JSON2post, JSON_post.cpp. So I will start it from that point and then see how you can identify the root cause of the problem. Okay, so
Okay.
there is a few things you need to check, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you have some questions, just let me know. I think I will be going through my Facebook messages. I haven't be able to go through many of them this past 2 days, but I'm coming back to that, okay? All right, let me check the, okay, Julia, to answer your question about homework 6, that if you didn't create the subdirectory, it's fine. It's okay, because when we do testing, we were going to create. I mean, in fact, some of the students asked me whether we need to create search and the client. I say you don't need to. When we grade it, we will create that. But I'm saying it's just for your own sake. When you test your program, you really want to have a server and the client. I mean, when I develop my program, my directory of client and server is always empty from the beginning. And now at homework 7, my server has a lot of valuable information. But you can imagine if I don't have that, my client side information will actually easily messed up with my server information. Okay, so you don't need to do that. Okay. And you will not be deducted if you didn't submit it, of course, because you don't need to do that. That also take care of Jason's question, right? Okay. Okay, I have somebody from Turing Machine. That's interesting. Wow, you must really like theory of computation. Okay, that is interesting because I actually this is for the Turing Machine. I actually check. I might not fix my last bug in that perspective. I actually check the ID. So I check whether the ID has two string. They're both string and they're both numerical, and I will check on that. Okay, thank you. I will copy and paste. Let me actually see if I can do anything right now. Okay. Let me share my screen. Turing Machine, are you still there? No, I couldn't find anything. That's interesting. Huh. For some reason, I didn't see any of the information on the server log related to this number. So this number, my guess is that because I know I check if the ID, the format of the ID is not the number underscore another number, they're both big number. If that doesn't follow that format, this post will not be accepted to our system. That might be the reason, but you can actually contact me and we can figure this out together. Okay. Okay, let me actually check the transaction. I'm gonna answer Julia's question about transaction.cpp. So my transaction is actually quite simple. Just follow the bug as I mentioned in lecture 15. That I just set this for the constructor. Just set this for to be null, if this transaction has only a type. But the thing is that for other I actually didn't fix that. I only fixed this one. I should probably do this as well. By the way, I mean this for line should actually happen in every single constructor. Oh, I did this one and this too, but not this one. But the other thing which I did for my constructor is I actually have a dumpj for transaction as well, which was not the case for homework 6. Okay, but homework 7 now I have a transaction dumpj, which is similar to other dumpj that you will have. Does that answer your question, Julia? Julia, I cannot hear you. You're muted.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let me know if you have any further question, okay? Yeah, Chonghan, you actually generate object ID yourself. You can put any number you want, but the rule is that it has to be a string of numerical character. Okay, you can put whatever. Don't put it too long though. Too long you might cause another buffer overflow. Okay. But I think my program I try to handle really long, but that might not be enough. Okay. Okay, and the current time function, I cannot get the match time as the time show on my, okay. Don't worry about the matching for the time. If the difference between whatever matching is just a timestamp, that's not going to be the issue by homework assignment number 7. It was homework 5, it makes sense, is because we're just processing as it is. But homework 7, even in homework 6, we're actually keep generating time. And the time is actually a very important thing that you should update, because I actually check everything as well, okay? Yes, Scott, yeah, that's basically it. Okay, Turing machine again. Your question about what is a fail -9 file not exist. So the rule is that when you want to do a validate, means that this JSON must have been update before. Okay, if you want to validate something, it must be update before. But when it's update, it must already save this. So in some sense, I'm going to share my screen to answer your question. So currently, only validate okay, that was back, okay. So what do I mean by have it? You can see that I now have those file. These are the posts that currently that has keep it. So if you update your JSON, sorry, your post, then you will have an entry here. I do also want to check is that right now, after I don't know which version of a server, that this number must be a valid VSID from the class. Okay, I mean, if somebody just put a random number, it will not be accepted. It will not be saved as a file. So that ID must be something that we know that this is belong to our class. Okay.
Just a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you want to validate a post, you have to update the post with the history records first, and then you have to validate. Is that correct?
No, you don't. You don't need to. When you update the post, you don't need to have the historical record. You can actually just submit the update, which essentially have nothing except the ID and maybe a couple other things, and then you can submit the validate. So what I'm saying is that when I actually do the validate, I must see that you already have a record in the server, in the post. Yeah. So that's what I don't want you to just directly do validate without first update. The other reason, which is I mentioned too, I think Anna made an excellent suggestion, that what I will do in the future is that when you validate, I will also, you will either receive, say, the validate successful, which you will get the JSON back with a validate. Or if you fail, I'm going to tell you that how many historical record that I have regarding that particular file that I already keep. So it could be that you have 18 and the file I have is only 13 or maybe have a 23. So you kind of know what's happening, and so that's the information I'm going to provide you.
Oh, I see. Yeah, just one more update on this. So I just tried homework 6 validate. I'm sorry, homework 7 validate with my post, and it gave me back failed less than 20 history record. That sounds right, actually, because I only have 1 history record so far.
Right. So yeah, that's the record is saying that the the post you just submitted, I checked, the program checked how many history, it realizes less than 20, so it will generate that error message. But there are two messages. The message you earlier say, file not exist, means that you haven't updated. So if you update it, it will give you that another error code. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so Alexandria, regarding the error message you have, that's usually to do with the JSON parsing problem. Okay, so let me give you some example. If you have a JSON, which is, of course, JSON is, you have a key, right? It's like a data or count, double quote on the left side of the column. And then on the right side, you have something. That something could be a number, could be a string, could be array, or could be another JSON object. So on the right side, that you can have a bunch of things. But on the right side, sometimes you actually call the function, say, as string or as int or as array or something. So sometimes when you call the function like as string, but on the left side, it's not a string, it's actually an array, then during that situation, you're going to get the JSON logic error, because the JSON value on the right side of the column, that particular object doesn't fit into the function you try to access that object. So that's usually what will happen. That what is a looks like is an exceptional handling. So if I were you, I will actually look for when did this happen, and try to see if I check that value is really what I expected. So a lot of the time I actually make this this kind of correction all the time, is that when I actually write my code, I for sure assume that this is actually a string. So I just directly call as string, okay? Whatever I got from my V message, and I extract, say, ID, and then I set as string. But it's not. It's actually encoding in a different format. And so basically, I'm going to get into trouble to get this kind of logic error that you're receiving. Okay.
But I think the only place where I use the what for a catch exception is for homework 6 update, and I used it directly from your client because I just copied that part from your client. So I'm not sure where the problem is still.
No, it might not be exception though. It might be inside of the JSON, the library, the JSON RPC library. They have their internal exception. They have that one is not your code, but their code. But when they're calling the function as string inside, they actually trigger exception. So in some sense, that abort or core down, it might not be your code. It's actually their code. So, but you can avoid that problem by doing some proactive checking. I mean, I'm not 100% confirmed because I didn't look at their source code. But I feel that that's sometimes happened. The library just blindly apply the function to something which is, I mean, programmers are human. It's just like us. We make mistake, I think. Yeah. So you can try to avoid that problem by, I mean, that's how I handle the issue a few times when I saw that message.
Oh, wait, so how would I find where that's happening? Because I tried putting print statements in my homework 6 update, and then it stopped.
Let me give you an example how I fixed. Oh, sorry. Let me tell you that one of the things I did wrong.
I think it stopped right when it was about to read the file.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. When let me show you one thing which I did. What am I? Oh, okay. Remember, this was the latest case I have to handle. Okay, so this is something which is part of my code. Okay, so for a long time, my code I only have the first line without the second line. So the thing is, you can see that I said is null. I said whether you have ID string, right? If you don't have ID string, no ID. And then I just pass this stage, then I would just go here to say, hey, I want to check for the timestamp about whether I mean, this is exactly, you will start getting the error for stack, SMAC stack inspection. That's actually, I did check the time interval here. But without this line, I directly use this. Sometimes I cause that kind of problem. So I kind of in the process, I strengthen my code saying that, hey, not only it has to be null, but this has to be a string. I use the function to check a certain thing. So I'm saying that in our code, you might want to see if it's before you open the file or something, check whether the file name is actually, I mean, that one, by the way, that one has to do with JSON. Has to do with JSON. And that message about JSON logic error is thrown when you call a function such as string, which is a JSON function is going to call, okay? I mean, I know this is not 100% clear, but if you still ran into a problem like Sandra, I'd be happy to look at your code as well. I might be able to, I mean, share some of my help to help you get around that.
In your homework 6 update, you say you write catch JSON RPC function ampersand e, and then you do e dot what, so then you call the what function. So I'm assuming the error is coming from there, right? Because that's the only what I have in my code.
It might be, but there might be some other exception that's actually happened within the JSON library. Because when you call as string, you're actually calling a function that's in the JSON RPC. Oh, sorry, not even JSON RPC, that's JSON C++ library. So there is a difference between JSON C++, which is a general JSON capability within the C++ framework. And then there is a JSON RPC C++. So that one, I think, is generated by the JSON C++. So that could have two things. One is when you call the as int or as string, that's actually trigger JSON C++ exception. The other thing is that because we're doing JSON RPC and JSON RPC is using JSON C++, and that could also trigger some exception that they actually put in, the implementer of JSON RPC C++ people, they might have putting into some of that as well. So one of the things you can actually took care of that is just you can actually try to modify the message within that exception clause to see if it's really triggered that part or not, and then try to see if you can just change that part a little bit to make sure that it's not triggering any problem. But what you have, even if that's your code, that's actually that exception that's receiving, there usually something else in the code somewhere which actually throw that exception which being caught by that piece of code. And to avoid that problem is probably not dealing with that exceptional handling catch clause, but to deal with where that was thrown. So by how do I do that is by commenting some part of the code and doing some verification and see if that still trigger that code. That might be the other location. So essentially what I'm saying is that try to identify which part of the code it actually catch that exception.
Okay.
And then you can see how you can fix that problem.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I put in print statements all throughout homework 6 update, and it stopped right before it was going to read the JSON, and I still don't know why it stopped there.
Okay, it's going to read the JSON, right? So can
Yeah.
you actually print the JSON value using to style string before that,
No.
and see if that is a really valid JSON?
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And you will be surprised sometime when I do that, it's actually that line already triggered the exception when I do to style string or something. Yeah, you might want to check on that. That's actually seems to be very reasonable because you say it's going to access that JSON and then the JSON have some logical error. That means usually that JSON has something which is mismatched with what the JSON library want to process. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me let me see my screen. Okay, I think I took care of this part by Alexandria. Alec, homework 6. I will ask the TA. Okay, I will ask the TA. Okay. Okay, Turing machine sent back. This is 115. Let me copy and paste. Okay. Let me see this. I'm going to be the insider here. Yeah, it's here. Okay. Yeah, I have this post here. So let me see. I do see that post there, and so Turing machines. So now the file should be there, right? It's okay, right? Because now it exists. Yeah. Okay. First number and the post number has to be, yes. The first number of your post, the ID must be your VS ID. Yeah, that's correct, Alexis. Yes, before the first. Which transaction constructor do we use? I use the first one. I use the simplest one. Okay. Alexis, I'm referring to your question about which constructor. Aldo, this is answering your question about the dumpj function, about the keys. You need to, okay, let me tell you this. Officially, you might not need to, but you need to manually. If you don't let your program dumpj to handle the keys, then you have to manually add the keys to your post before you do the update. Because if you don't do that, then your post is not searchable, right? I mean, basically key were there is because we want your key to be searchable by others. So therefore, if your dumpj, if you use dumpj to create the to style string to do the update, if that key is not there, it's not searchable. Okay, so that's why somehow you either manually add it to the post or you actually build in the dumpj. It's not that hard to implement the adding the key section to the dumpj, okay? Hey, Manuel,
Yeah.
you want to, okay, hold on. I think Gavin just said the server crashed, so let me take a look, okay? So I just want to show you this is option. Okay, there is a logical error is P2. Sorry, I have to remember this before because I have this is this one is my debugging message. Okay, so there's another one I need to save that before I do too much to this. Okay, just keep it here. I'll take care of that later. And I will just keep it running. All right, it's not intentional. It was another bug. Okay. All right. So Manuel, you said make file.
I keep hitting
What is the
problems with
question?
it.
Yeah.
And the error looks really simple, but I just can't figure it out. Can I share my screen real quick?
Sure. Let me allow you to share. Okay. Go ahead, Manuel.
Okay, yeah, this is a very serious error for me. I just can't get over it.
No rule to make a HW7 server. Do you have a rule say HW7 server?
This?
No, go down. No, something like you have HW7 server.h.o, but you have on the left side. Oh, hold on. Yeah, you don't have that rule, right? You see, you have 40 line 49. No, that's .o, right? You see, line 49. You have a rule for search, HW7 search.
Yeah.
You need to make a line looks like that for HW7 server. Let me. Yeah.
And then for the server, would it be homework 7 server.o and then homework 7 server and then homework 7 server.o?
Well, wait a minute. You're talking about homework assignment 7, right?
Yeah.
Why do you want to do homework assignment server? HW7 server is my part of code. You don't need to build your own server.
Okay, so that's
If it's a 6, you have to have HW6 server because for homework 6, you're worried about both server sides and the client side. But for
okay,
7,
yeah.
you don't do the server.
Yeah, I'm tripping. So I can get rid of this.
Yeah, you can get rid of that part. Yeah. But you need to add another one, which is probably HW7 validate.
Okay, I'll try that. Then once I run into more problems, I'll.
Okay, sure, of course. All right. Okay, let me see. So just Gavin, thank you for letting me know. And you guys need to let me know, especially next few days until everybody is up, that I need to keep tracking the server and I will keep fixing problem, make sure it's as stable as I can. Okay. Julia. You can, Julia, you can either manually update or using the program like what I have is with HW7 history. By the way, HW7 history is a way for me to actually be able to merge the history into a post. And you can leverage that fit for your purpose. You might need to change some of that if you want to do something extra, okay? You can, by the way, but on the other hand, it's not that bad if you do manual. Okay, it's not that bad if you do manual, because you are not going to do that for a million posts. You just do it for a few posts. Then manual is not necessarily a bad idea. Okay. Get time string. Hiroto, I actually changed my JV time recently because I was actually handling time. I might in the process fix one of the bug. I didn't do anything. So what I can do is that I actually upload those two. I may just upload those two so you can actually check that. So I'm going to share my screen, okay? So for those of you who want to use this code, you can just use it. Okay, let me go to my, I'm very convenient because I'm already on the server. So you can see that my, you can see that I actually modified my JV time CPP just earlier today to handle that. So I'm going to put this two file under the class directory. I'm going to copy JV time, I would say ch star to tilde/public ECF36B S2020. Done. Okay, now let me check. Yeah, now I have this two file I just uploaded. Okay, I mean, take a look at that. You can actually do a diff about the jvtime.cpp to see the difference, and maybe that will explain. It might be my bug in the JV time, or it could be the bug in your code when you call the function. There's something is not working out correctly. Okay, Hiroto, let me know. I'm interested to know if I have another bug, then I will need to do that. I will need to fix that. Okay. No, Andrew, you don't need to run HW7 server because for Homework 7, you're just running the client. Server is on my side. Is this guy? Is this guy right now? It's core dump again. Wow, that's an update. That's a stack. You see, this one's a real smash. So I have to work on that. Okay, let me actually just keep it so I can work on that later. But for the meantime, I will just let it go. Continue to function. Okay. Okay. Yes. For handling the if you want to handle the history record automatically, or you want to actually check your own history, that that is the right way to do that using the dumpj. Yeah, this is answering to Andrew's question. Okay, any other question? Oh, you know what? I actually have a function called dumpjh. It's a function that only print the historical portion or something like that. Let me actually check. I forgot why I have that two different dumpj. Okay, let me get here. More transaction CPP. Okay, the dumpj is just dumpj. Oh, I know what I have. The regular dumpj actually. Wait a minute. Where's my dumpjh?
It should be on post.
Okay. Okay. H only. Oh, so okay. The post is the dumpjh is just dumpj the historical part. Yeah. So I basically cut this pieces, just dumpj for the history part. You can see that there's nothing else. I didn't do any other dumpj. Of course, I still print the ID field because I need to have ID field. So this is dumpjh is generating a post which has only ID and history. I use that for just interact with the server sometime. let me check. Shumit, I'm looking at your question. So you might want to just use, I don't know whether that it's a new function or it's an old function, but let me actually check jvtype.h. The constructor, I have two constructor. I don't know whether the old version, that version you have. See, there is a one constructor which will take character string, but the other constructor is really just default constructor without taking anything. Okay, so that one, it might be that line I added to that after I release the code from the reference implementation. Okay. So I just, Shumet, in case you didn't get it, I put the newest version of jvtype.h and jvtype.cpp on the class server. Okay, here. Oh, this is my presentation. I'm going to talk today. Where's my? Yeah, here. Yeah, this two. Okay, these two files are the newest. Oh, I'm sorry. This was there. Oh, okay. That's another. Hold on 1 second. I'm answering a personal, private conversation here. Let me check. There's just so many messages. Yeah, a little bit like that. But of course, it doesn't have some of the information. It doesn't have a timestamp. It doesn't have type. It has the VSID and things like that.
Professor, I think the server is down again.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the same post. I'm going to try to study that. It's very interesting. Thank you. Okay. Julia, can I show you a example? So this is an example about. Let me do this. Sorry. 6B. Do I have a superset here? No. Okay. So I have a JSON which I call a super BBB. This one can be validated. This one you can see is a regular one, but it has. Sorry, here you can see that. Here, starting here, you see there's a history section, right? So Julia, when I say 20, and this one has 21, this is more than 20, it has a history, has the record about history, more than 20 records. So you can see the first one is my own ID, Oracle, my own ID has an avatar name, creation, location, network. And then I have another one, which is different, another valid ID, and then another one, another. They're all different ID over there. Okay, so basically, those are the 20 valid ID. The valid ID means that it's the ID of our class, because our class right now has about 185 valid VSID from all the students. And so the ID must be one of those 185. And also, it has to be different. Number two, it has to be different, has to be one of those 20 of those 185. And you can always use mine, which is my ID will count as one of those. And the other thing which is important is that if you haven't obtained a VSID yourself, it's not too late. So you need to go through homework assignment number 2, part 1 to get yourself VSID. And then you let me know you have done that. So I will update the VSID. I think it should be okay because my server always read from the newest copy of the VSID database. So it shouldn't, I don't need to do anything. You just need to go through homework assignment number 2 in order to get a VSID, and that number will increase, okay? Does that answer your question, Julia?
Yes, it does. I have one more like question though.
Mhm.
So, you need 20 IDs for yourself. How about from like your ID on someone else's post? What's the requirement for that?
So you need to have 10 posts that your ID is actually in 10 of the posts. But about that 10 posts, 2 of them you must be the from, means you're the original contributor of the post.
What do
So
you
you're the
mean by-
author, you're the main author of that post. That's what I meant. Does that answer your question?
Can you explain more about the main author part? I'm kind of confused by that.
Sure. So for example, this is Super BBB. So you see here, there is a from field, right? And the from field is actually, this is your, so this should be your VSID here. By the way, I didn't check the avatar name. I just checked the VSID. So this is a from, so means that those 10 posts you submit, 2 of them, the from must be yours,
Okay.
okay?
All right. That makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And by the way, I don't let people change that from field right now, my server. So you cannot just take a post and then modify the from field. The server won't allow that to happen. That's why also the server need you to do an update, because when the server did the update, at least I have a record about what should be the most critical information. It has to be there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right, Alexis. Thank you. You don't need to. This is actually from Zeming Poo's question. No, you don't need to update to make it to be searchable. Yeah, because right now the server works is that you don't need, I mean, it's still searchable regardless. The reason it is right now, I not only keep the posts such that it can be read, but also I keep the O key. O key is similar to, for each of the keyword, I remember which post ID is associated with this key. So even with server crash, when you do a search, say you do a search for fruit, then I actually come here to actually check the fruit, right? To see the ID. And I use this ID to actually load in all the posts you already have. So this is all linked together. So all the object ID that's actually being validated, not validated, being updated before, they're going to have an entry in one of the keywords. So when you do the search, I will just go in there to grab it if I don't have it in the memory. Okay. So otherwise, I mean, it will be insane, right? I mean, just every time the crash, I have to do everything again. That's not good. Okay. Okay. Oh, my VSID, it was the one who caused segmentation fault. Somebody is using the post that I have. Okay. So I think my VSID, let me just check. What's my VSID? It must be on the base. Yeah, this is my VSID. It's actually, my VSID is already on all your homework because when you do base input 01 JSON, that's all my VSID I was using, okay? Oh, I didn't share my screen, so you actually didn't see that. How many times I did this quarter? So this is my VSID. You can see that from homework 1126A, whatever. Yeah, it's in your base JSON. Zeming, I will try that. I will double confirm that. I mean, how I can actually verify that. Okay. So if that's not happening, that means there is a bug I need to fix. All right. Sure, you're welcome. Okay, are there any other question? Okay, so I will, number one, I will get back to your Facebook messaging. I know some of you are still working on earlier homework. I will work on that, but also I will, you probably guess, I have a big funding proposal presentation. It's competitive, so I have to be presenting right to get the funding for UC Davis. I will do that next few hours, and then I will try to fix more bugs and give you update. I will probably put update about the server on the Facebook or whatever platform that is more convenient. And there is any question, we'll talk. Yes, I will have office hour tomorrow as well. Yeah, Jerry, sorry. Yeah, okay. I'll check on that, but I just want to tell you next few hours I may not be available, okay? Thank you. All right, I'll talk to you later. I'm going to upload this first. Bye.